he's a Republican, so he's just doing it for political reasons. No, people are dying. People are abusing taxpayer funds. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Programs are a complete failure. Maybe we should look at them and see if they can be fixed, if they can be made to be more effective, or if we just need to defund them and try something else. This segment is brought to you by Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Sick of fad diets that work for a couple months and then you gain all the weight back? Well, I'm down 37 pounds on the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic program, and I've kept that weight off for more than a year. Schedule your free 15-minute consultation today at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. All these stories collectively are bringing renewed attention to the failures in our juvenile justice program, as it should. You've got people like Dow Constantine. Oh, we're going to end youth detention by 2020. Was it 2023 or 2025? I mean, just a pipe dream. Oh, we're going to close down the youth jail. Like, where are you going to put the youth murderers? What are you going to do? Just, sanity goes out the window to score political points with a small segment of the far left that wants to decriminalize things, doesn't want young people to be incarcerated, even though young people can commit just as heinous of crimes as old people. So King County Councilman Reagan Dunn, he had previously requested an audit of something. It's a youth diversion program. It's called Juvenile Restorative Community Pathways. And they were denied. He didn't, he asked for an audit of it to see how it was doing, the success rate of that program and all of that. No, we're not going to do that. Well, now there's all these headlines that are coming out more and more by the day. Nicole just went and compiled a couple of them. We could have done hundreds of them that talk not only about juvenile crime, but also about, the Juvenile Restorative Justice Pathways Program. King County's juvenile diversion programs are a mess. Time for a reset. That's from the Seattle Times. KUOW, controversial county effort to divert youth criminal cases to community groups isn't meeting its goals. Also, KUOW, can you get a more liberal, more progressive entity than that? King County gave millions to no new youth jail activists to help kids and then looked away. Yeah, so even the progressive outlets see that our handling of juvenile offenders is ridiculous. It's a dereliction of duty. It's leading to more crime and more death, and it's sending these kids down a spiral that will be almost impossible to get them out of. Because when you fail to hold them accountable and get them on the right path early on, they're just going to do more serious things. And then they're going to get in so deep where they kill someone, for instance, and then their life is ruined forever. And then you've missed out on the opportunity. So, King County Councilman Reagan Dunn, let's try this again. Once again, asking for an audit of the King County Juvenile Restorative Community Pathways Program. And he is pointing to a specific case involving someone who was diverted into the program and then wound up killing another human being. He wrote, on May 18th, 2024, a juvenile shot a woman to death in Shoreline after he threatened two teenage girls with a gun and the victim attempted to intervene. While this juvenile had no official criminal history, charging documents revealed to the public that this juvenile had previously, in 2021, been arrested for brandishing a gun at school and was sent to the diversion program, Restorative Community Pathways. It is only through court filings that we learned that this juvenile offender never engaged in that program, but was also not sent to an alternative diversion program or charged with a crime. This is insane. So it's like, brandished a gun, oh, let's put him to juvenile pathways. He didn't want to do that. So they're just like, okay, no big deal. Reagan Dunn goes on to write in this letter, this alarming situation not only highlights the tragedy that can occur when the criminal justice system fails to provide meaningful intervention in juvenile cases, but it also points to loopholes within our juvenile justice system, specifically within restorative community pathways, that fail to deliver meaningful interventions for juvenile offenders. There desperately needs to be improved transparency, accountability, and oversight of this controversial program. To this end, I am formally requesting that you perform an audit of restorative community pathways to bring to light the systemic deficiencies that have led to such tragedies as the one previously described. How is this controversial? How is asking for an audit of any government program controversial? We should be doing that routinely anyway. Look at all our homelessness programs that have squandered billions of dollars, and we have a worse homelessness system than we've ever had before. And this is not the first time that Reagan Dunn has asked for and not received an audit on a program that so clearly needs one. Remember, he was on the show with us a couple weeks ago saying that we need to have an audit of the Justice for All housing people who bail out delinquent tenants? Housing Justice Project? You think he's going to get an audit? No, of course not. He's a Republican, so he can't. He's just doing it for political reasons. No, people are dying. People are abusing taxpayer funds. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Programs are a complete failure. Maybe we should look at them and see if they can be fixed, if they can be made to be more effective, or if we just need to defund them and try something else. So in response to Reagan Dunn once again requesting an audit of this program, the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office proactively released some data on their outcomes with the Juvenile Community Pathways Program to date. And I'll say, just this amount of data, it's not good. I appreciate them proactively releasing it. Hats off to Casey McNerthney, who's the public information officer with the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, like one of the only good public information officers who exists out there because he's a former journalist. So it says, as of June 3rd, 889 total referrals and cases to the Community Pathways Program. Of those, 324 returned to the Prosecuting Attorney's Office because Community Pathways was unable to locate the youth. What? So like almost half of the 900 referrals where you've got a juvenile who's committed a crime and you say, okay, we're going to put you into Community Pathways. They didn't do the program because you couldn't find them? How can you not find a juvenile offender? You don't have information for their parents? You don't have an address? How is that possible? And then it says, of the 324, so they don't participate in the Community Pathways Program, so okay, we're going to kick that case back to the prosecutor's office. I guess we'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way, right? If they don't want to participate in our diversion program, well, then we'll prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law, right? Right? No, of course not. Of the 324, so 72 of them were filed into juvenile court and criminally prosecuted. Just 74. 91 weren't filed at all. The most common reason for not filing is that the case amounted to a standalone misdemeanor offense and at least 6 to 12 months had passed since the incident and there were no new crimes committed by this juvenile. So you're telling me that in 91 cases where the juvenile just didn't participate in the Community Pathways Program that you were offering them as a chance, you were doing something good for them, they didn't participate. So it was kicked back to the prosecutor's office. And in 91 of those cases, you just threw your hands up and said, it's not a big deal. It's just a standalone misdemeanor. They haven't done anything else bad in 6 to 12 months. So why prosecute them? Well, you prosecute them because the next crime they commit could be murder. And then you won't be able to ignore it. And then they're going to be in prison for life, or at least until their 21st birthday. It says 8 of the cases were rediverted to juvenile court services for another attempt at engagement. Couldn't get him the first time. Let's try again. And then 153 of them, half of them are still under review. Trying to figure out, and how many of those do you think are going to end in prosecution? If we're going by the current numbers, maybe half? It says, how many referred juveniles have completed the program? This is also critical information because remember, about 900 referrals into the program, about 400, 500 of them actually started on the path of the program. Okay, so what was the completion rate? Like, are these juveniles now A+ students doing great, like no new offenses? It says the data is tracked and reported by DCHS. They would be the department best suited to answer this question. However, to get a sense of completion rates, their Q1 report for 2024 discusses this. Of the 69 youth referred by the PAO in that period, 46 completed the program, 67%. So they're talking about the 69 that they referred. But again, remember, 900 or so were referred. Only 400 to 500 started on the program. So you're telling me right now we only have data for 46 of them to say they completed the program. And it's also one of the big fundamental failures of government when you look at diversion programs, for instance. No follow-through, no coordination between agencies. So again, This data is tracked and reported by DCHS. They would be the department best suited to answer this question. Any government entity involved in that program or referring kids to that program should have that information like this. They should be able to track it. Everyone should have the same information so they can gauge how successful the program is. This is similar to the homeless industrial complex and some of the shortcomings on that and where things fall apart. You got one service provider who goes and gets them off the street into emergency housing, emergency shelter. They don't know what happens to them after that. Then you might have someone who takes someone from emergency shelter, gets them into a tiny house. They don't know what happens to them after that. They don't know if they wound up back on the streets and then another service provider is doing it all over again. One service provider gets them connected to drug and mental health treatment. They don't even know if they go. Wash their hands of it. Do it again. No coordination, no connection, no desire to know whether the program is effective, whether it is meeting the bar that any program like this in the juvenile justice system should have, which is balancing the needs of the public to feel safe and protected, the demand that there is a punishment for crimes, and yes, the need to make sure that young people have a chance to get on the right path before things go so far off track that there's no coming back. This is clearly not doing that. Reagan Dunn has again asked for an audit, and now would be a damn good time to do one.